Now it's time for the best game on the Virtual Boy to be reviewed, the game the Virtual Boy is remembered for, Wario Land. The full title of the game is Virtual Boy Wario Land, which is a rather bland title. The working title was Wario Cruise, which I have to say is an even worse title. Even though water makes an appearance, there are no boats whatsoever, an important element to any cruise. This game is the second in the Wario Land series, the first being another unfortunately titled game, Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land. Wario Land is a platformer spanning 14 stages, including 4 boss stages. The stages are very varied. There's caves, a forest, a waterfall, a temple, and a haunted house, among others. It never gets repetitive. On every stage you have to find a key in order to open the door to the elevator leading to the next stage. The stages seem linear at first, but they're packed with secrets. These will get you coins, hearts, or the valuable diamonds that act like one-ups, and sometimes they lead to the key. On every stage there's a special treasure hidden, a feature that was carried over from Wario Land on Game Boy. These include such valuables as a ship, a fountain pen, one of those creepy waving cats, a dress, and a cock. I mean a rooster. The treasures have a secondary function, but more on that later. Also carried over from the Game Boy game are power-ups. Unlike in Mario games, you start out big, and if you get hit you turn into small Wario, then you die. As Big Wario you can slam into enemies, but you can't break blocks or do the butt stomp. When big you can get one of 3 power-ups. The Viking helmet turns you into Bull Wario, who can break blocks and do the butt stomp, which stuns enemies if you slam the ground. The Dragon Crystal turns you into Sea Dragon Wario, which lets you shoot fire. In the Game Boy game the fire would be continuous for a while after pressing the button. Here you can control it more freely. It's like a flamethrower. The fire can break blocks as well as special fire blocks that can only be removed with this power. The eagle statue turns you into Eagle Wario, and with it you can fly for a short time. Unfortunately you can't do the butt stomp with this one. There's one more twist to the power-ups. You can combine the Eagle and Sea Dragon power-ups to turn yourself into King Dragon Wario. King Dragon Wario has all attacks in one. You can shoot, butt stomp and fly. After each level you can play 2 minigames, one game to win hearts, one game to win coins, and one game to rule them all. Just kidding. In the hearts game you jump back and forth collecting hearts while making sure to avoid the bats that make you lose your hearts. The hearts, by the way, also work like one-ups. When you've collected 100 of them you get an extra life. So it's sort of like the coins in Mario. The coin game is a simple chance game. It's random and risky. The graphics in this game are great, unquestionably the best on the Virtual Boy. The level of detail that went into the level design is staggering, as well as the enemy designs. How many other games have fish with masks and chainsaw noses? The game uses the 3D of the Virtual Boy well and often. The most obvious example would be the different planes. On just about every stage except the water level, you can use these springs to make you jump into the background, and this is used both for secrets and progression. Another example would be the bosses. All bosses travel between both planes, like this first boss, which is a little dinosaur with a ball and chain on his head. When he's in the background he'll swing it at the foreground. There are spiked balls like that in the first and last stages also. The final boss is another prime example of how the graphics and the 3D come together. You attack him by jumping between planes into his nose. But as you might imagine, playing this through the camera viewfinder was very hard, and I didn't last very long. In summary, the graphics are excellent. If colorized, this game would have strained a Super Nintendo. The music and sound doesn't quite live up to the level of excellence set by the graphics, but they work well enough. The sound effects are the typical Nintendo platformer fare, and typical of the Virtual Boy's sound chip range in quality between NES and Atari 2600. The music takes the Super Mario World approach with a central theme and then variations of it, like a slower version for the underwater stage, etc. The control is great, tight and responsive. You jump with A, dash with B, move with the left D-pad and use L or R to run. The run button is a great addition, something the Game Boy Wario Land games didn't have. The right D-pad isn't used. Wario Land has multiple endings, and this is where the treasures come into play again. If you didn't collect them all, you get one of 4 bad endings. In these, Wario uses some form of aviation he built himself to fly home. If you did collect them all, you can get one of 2 good endings. The very best ending is gained from collecting all treasures and finishing the game under 2 hours. Then, according to FAQs at least, you get to see Wario courted by a sleazy-looking woman. I haven't been able to get that ending myself though, neither has anyone with a camera apparently, so I don't know how it looks like. To think, in this age of Let's Plays, that such an image would be unknown. It motivates me to play again and again. And as if this wasn't enough, there's a second quest. When you finish the game with all treasures, you can start a new game that's more difficult. The treasures and keys will be where they were, but now the levels will be flooded with spikes and enemies. Wario Land on Virtual Boy is a great game. It's definitely my favorite Wario Land game. And it's even better than some of the Mario games. Later Wario Land games went further with the treasure hunting to the point where they almost didn't feel like platforming games anymore, just side-scrolling treasure hunts. But this mix of action and treasures suits me just fine. Wario Land makes great use of the Virtual Boy's abilities, and it definitely deserves being the Virtual Boy's flagship title. Another thing it deserves is a port or remake. A virtual console for Virtual Boy on 3DS kinda goes without saying, but with that would come a golden opportunity to colorize. There are other good games on Virtual Boy, but more than any other, this game deserves to be played by more people. Come on Nintendo, stop ignoring the Virtual Boy and remake this game.